This is the book that I've just launched, published by Wiley. And in this book, I share stories and strategies of how to help entrepreneurs to get noticed. Now, a little bit about me and why I've written this book. In fact, this is the third in this series. I spent my life looking for the answers to the problems that face all of us entrepreneurs, and that is how to get noticed on a shoestring budget. I first started my entrepreneurial journey back in 1995 when I moved to Singapore to start EASTWEST Public Relations. I then ran a regional operation with offices in China and in Singapore and India before eventually moving to China in 2006. And there I opened the offices of the company, but I also started the British Motorsport Festival, the British Business Awards. I imported some drinks, and I also then won an award for being one of the top innovators in the Chinese market, amongst foreigners, that is, of course. And we imported Morgan Cars, which is that beautiful shiny green vehicle you can see that we drove into the Forbidden City as part of a publicity stunt. I spent all of my life starting, building, and running and selling companies, and the common problem has been finding answers to how to get noticed. Now, I've tried gurus and I've tried books and courses, but what I found is the best source of information actually my fellow entrepreneurs. And that led me to the next part of my journey, which was starting a podcast. So when we moved back to England in 2019, and we being my wife, Erica from Shanghai, my two amazing daughters, Amity and Halo, I wanted to pursue a journey of finding out more about how other entrepreneurs get noticed for free, because ultimately it's the experience of others that I know that I can trust. And fast forward from 2019 to today, I've asked over 500 entrepreneurs the question, how do you get noticed without a budget? And as a result, my podcast has entered into the top 2% worldwide. It's in the top 100% of entrepreneur podcasts. That's indie podcasts, that is produced by independent podcasters like myself. And in fact, it's number 54 as I speak to you today. And it's also number 5 in the public relations Good Pods chart. And you can see that I've authored 3 books from the interviews that I've held with all of my amazing entrepreneurs from around the world. So what I've done is I've collected stories from entrepreneurs around the world, and I'd like to share with you just 5 of those to give you a flavor of what you're going to read about in the book. This is Teresa Zimmerman, who is based in North Carolina. She started a company called Wood Underwear, and it is underwear made from a wood fiber. Extremely comfortable, absorbs moisture very well. But of course, she was starting as an entrepreneur against these large companies. How is she going to get noticed? She sponsored a local beach volleyball team. Obviously, loads of Instagram photogenic hunks in the team and all cavorting around on the beach playing volleyball in their wood underwear. Perfect grist for the social media mill. The next is Mark Wong from the UK. You might recognize him because he's on Dragon's Den and actually got turned down. Mark and his team have actually managed to build a business that has recorded over £2.5 million in revenue and is now going for crowdfunding. And it's a nootropics-based alcohol-free beer. How they've built that amazing revenue is all through social media. They have filmed every day in the life of Impossible Brew. So they've taken photos and images of them brewing, of going to see people, of packaging, of holding events. And they built a following of over 56,000 people on Instagram alone. Ross Veach is the co-founder of a company called WeGo based out of Singapore, although Ross is originally Australian. WeGo is a travel aggregator. And what Ross managed to do to generate an appeal for his platform was great content, aggregating the best prices for flights and hotels and so on. But also he got his app, the WeGo app, installed on mobile phones before they got shipped. A very clever move indeed. Karen Tan, actually also in Singapore, I've included because I love her story. And actually, as a friend of mine, I lived in Singapore for 11 years. Karen started a business called The Projector with her sister and another business partner. And they have a community-funded independent cinema. They're showing indie flicks to the community in Singapore that would like non-commercial cinema fare. And the amazing thing here is that she did community fund and raised enough money to start the business. But of course, what it meant was that she automatically had an audience of cinema goers for her business. So she built a community and built a business at the same time. Eric Schmidt is an entrepreneur who's built a global event management and membership management platform called GlueUp. And he started this business with his partner. Actually, they were in China when they started. Now they're based in the US and have offices in 8 countries around the world. And what Eric has done brilliantly is to address the issue of education. So he is helping membership organizations around the world to increase membership revenue and retention through education and using his amazing platform. So there's an example of just helping your audience and your clients to improve their own skills and their own revenue by sharing expertise across the different communities that you're managing. The book, you noticed, Entrepreneur Volume 3, has 50 amazing stories like this. Inside the book, 50 entrepreneurs from around the world, actionable insights. Each story has 3 actionable insights at the end of each story. It has a tech stack, so each entrepreneur shared the technologies they're using, and they also include in their podcast interviews with me the books they read. So we have a reading list in there, and of course the contact details of all those entrepreneurs as well. Now, some people are interested in how I've managed to go from podcast to published, and so I thought I'd just share that. So there are 50 podcast episodes, which make approximately 80,000 curated words, and that makes a book of about 350 pages. Of course, you can do less, you can do more, but to get a nice, sizable feeling book, you want to have about 80,000 words. The simple formula is if you do half an hour of an interview and you assume that it's about 50-50 speaking, you'll get about 2,000 words from your guest. Then you cut that down to 1,500 words by editing out the beginnings and the ends and the ums and the ahs. And then you put a top and a tail on your book because you've got 65,000 words coming from your guest. And that leaves you about 15,000 for you to write the beginning and the end of your book. If you want to know the actual process, we have recording the audio, then we have transcribing the audio, then we have formatting those articles, editing those articles, and then publishing the book. So it is a process which I have used AI tools for. Some are off the shelf and some are low cost. I've used for the video, Riverside and Descript. For document management, I've used Perplexity and Swell AI for transcriptions, and ChatGPT and Grammarly for some of the text, and Grammarly, of course, for checking on the text that the AI has created. Now, what we're really doing, or what I'm really doing in a bigger picture, is creating collective intelligence. I've created a pensieve of entrepreneurship. Now, you might remember in Harry Potter, the Half-Prince, they collect up the memories of the wizards and the students so that they can be revisited later on. And that's in effect what I've done. I've collected the stories from these entrepreneurs around the world, now over 500, of which 50 are selected for each book. And all of these stories now are here and waiting for you. Now, you may not want to read the book, you may not want to listen or try and find which podcast to listen to from my vast archive, in which case you're in luck. This is my new avatar. I'm going to share with you how I've used this new technology to create a safe and trusted environment for you to access personalized information which responds to your needs, but from the collective intelligence of all my guests. So let me just play for you this slide. What's happening now is that the avatar is being asked a question by you, or in this case by me, and it is understanding the question, and it's understanding all the content that has gone through my podcast and all some of the other materials that I have put in through my courses and my coaching and my books. And you can see it's actually creating an index and showing you where you can find that information. Hi, Jim. How can you help me get onto podcasts?
Getting onto podcasts is a brilliant way to build your visibility and connect with your audience. First, you'll want to identify shows that align with your expertise and target audience. Then, craft a compelling pitch that highlights the value you can bring to their listeners. It's all about showing how your story or insights will resonate with their audience. If you're feeling unsure about where to start, I've developed a podcast guest training course that's designed to help you become a confident and sought-after guest. It's straightforward, affordable, and gives you the tools to stand out. You can find it at academy.theunnoticed.cc under the podcast guest blueprint course. Let me know if you'd like more tips or help with your pitch.
Thank you very much, Jim. That's all for now. Goodbye.
You're very welcome. Take care and goodbye for now.
And so you can see now the avatar is actually even talking to you, but it's a response personalized for your question. So I've got this large archive of trusted pensieves, of memories and stories, which you can draw on so that you can find the answers that you need to get noticed, the answers that you want for your business. Because I believe that every business and every entrepreneur is unique. I don't want to be a guru, and I wouldn't pretend to be one. I'm a guide. I'm just collecting all the information and guiding and curating it for you within the podcast, within these books, and within now my avatar. So the question is, what do you want to get noticed for? And if you'd like to try my avatar, or you'd like to set up a call with me for coaching and consulting, simply scan this QRC. It'll take you to my website.